We got you, Coach, and we're ready when you are.
Okay. Really, the only injury is Clyde, and he's making great progress. And I think we'll be able to get a little work out of him this week. But we'll see. We'll see how the next couple of days go. He's got a great attitude and wants to be out there. So, listen, with that, we look forward to playing Pittsburgh. We know that they're very, very well coached, great organization, and a good football team. And the playoffs, it really doesn't matter what you've done before. When we played, it's about now, and everything's a little faster in the playoffs and more aggressive. It's just how the nature of this thing and how it works. So we've got to make sure that we get ourselves right and go through that process. So we're playing Sunday night. We've had a couple of days. Players have had a couple of days off here, and to freshen up, and they'll be back in tomorrow and ready to go. So with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Herbie T.O.P. Go ahead, Herbie.
Coach, you mentioned the players freshening up. I have two questions, Brad. The first one, you mentioned the players freshening up, Coach. What are your expectations for Tyreek Hill this week, given that he has had a couple of days now to rest that heel?
Yeah, so that heel was sore after the game, and it's making a little progress the other way. So we're anticipating he's going to be okay to go. He's another one that he wants to play every snap he can. So.
And Coach, the second question, one of the biggest storylines leading into this regular season was the development and the new offensive line. As you look back over the regular season, how have they exceeded your expectations and your overall evaluation of them going into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I tell you, they've done a nice job of working through or getting familiar with one another. And so, that's important. I like the production that we're getting. We've got to step it up even another notch as we go here. So, but they're in the right frame of mind. I think Andy's done a nice job with them, just like Brendan Daly's done with the defensive line. I mean, I know they're veteran guys, but sometimes it's hard to get those old veteran guys together than as the other ones. But Brendan's done a great job with the defensive line. So, as you know, I know how important it is when you get into the playoffs that those two groups are really playing well.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, couple things. First, wanted to ask you about another one of your injured guys from the other day. Are you anticipating Daryl Williams to be okay for the Steelers game? And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, again, Daryl, his toe was sore. It's still a little tender, but he's working through that. We'll just see how he does this week. But I anticipate him, going.
Okay. And Jerick McKinnon did a nice job for you in the second half when you needed him to play. He's done that from time to time before this. Just wondering, hey, I know you like your other backs, but what does he have to do, Jerick McKinnon, to maybe get a little bigger piece of the pie, if you will?
Well, the main thing was that he stayed healthy throughout here. So, and he's healthy right now, so that he'll have opportunities in there if that's the direction we go for sure.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, I heard you mention in your opening statement, hey, postseason and things before this really don't matter, but you guys have played a lot of football, most games of any team since 2018. That postseason experience, especially that you guys have, does that play a factor on Sundays that you guys have been here before and you've done that?
You know what? I think the one thing, Aaron, that's good about it is the veteran guys that have been through it with us can tell the young guys, because we got quite a few young kids that are playing right now, and all of a sudden they're into game 18 here and going, holy Toledo. I mean, we thought we had a long season at 12, when they were playing college football. So it's I think that's a positive to know the speed of the game. I think is be able to share that with them is important. You don't know until you get in there, but for whatever reason, each level you go up in the playoffs, the speed of the game picks up. I mean, that's just the urgency level it's all single elimination. So the urgency level goes up. But that's what I tell you. Yeah.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, the first time around, TJ Watt likely to be the defensive player of the year, pretty banged up, this time a little bit healthier. So how much do you have to be cognizant of what he does and to ensure that maybe he doesn't wreck your game plan?
Yeah, he sure looked healthy yesterday, and I wouldn't slight 56 on the other side either. They've got good rushers, 97's a Pro Bowler too, and a big-time player. Those guys are that's a healthy defensive front that can bring it. And Watt is one of the best in the business at it. So yes, I would tell you we need to be aware of them.
Let's go next to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. Two things for you, Brad, if I could ask a second. One, Andy, first of all, I just wonder how you quantify Patrick's growth this year. It's been a little different kind of season in some ways, but obviously he's advanced a lot too.
Yeah, no, he's done a nice job with it. That fifth year, sixth year, you've got a pretty good grasp of the defenses you're going to see, and then it's a matter of fine tuning it and staying fresh on the new things that you put in each week. And I think he's handled that against a lot of different looks, whether it's zone or man. So, it's important. You're always learning as a football player, period, and coach. And so it's been a good year for him that way. And he's it really turned out some pretty good numbers and wins and all those things. So he's had a good year.
And Andy, the other question is just about Melvin Ingram, and I know you've spoken about it a number of times, but I wonder if you can sort of just speak to how he sort of reset the defense or helped reset the defense. It seems to go beyond the statistics.
Yeah, well, he brought a positive, definitely a positive attitude to an already positive group, but and that senior leadership that you hear about. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time at a very high level. And then he and Brendan Daly matching up together, I think, just was like a perfect fit. And so I don't want to slight Brendan on all this because he's a fine football coach and does a really good job with that group. And we've brought guys in that have come from little different situations. When you got to make sure that they all kind of dance the same dance, and he's done good with that. And then Ingram fit right in there, man. I mean, his attitude he's very smart, and his attitude is phenomenal. And all the guys respect him by it. So
We've got four more. We'll go right down the line, starting with Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, this is always a difficult day around the league at the end of the season. Wondering if you had a chance to talk to Matt Nagy and any of the other guys. And what is your message to coaches who are going through what they are today?
Yeah, listen, they've had an opportunity to be one out of 23 people in the whole, or 20, how many ever people we got in this league, in the whole world. And so that doesn't happen very often in your life, right? Where you're that small of a minority there. So it's been an honor to coach against some of these guys, to work with some of them, and they're going to have bright careers going down the road. So there are always little humps in this thing that you go through, and that you got to just kind of get through the valley to get to the peak, and it happens. It's a crazy business that way, but they're all good guys. I know all of them, and they're great guys, and they can basically do what they want to do from here. So.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
And Brad, I'll have a follow-up as well. Coach, first of all, on the defensive side of the ball, I know they were playing so great. Where I was averaging 9 points over 5, 6, 7 games. And, it's the NFL. They've been dinged up a little bit in 3 of the last 4. Tacklings, maybe, heard a couple of the guys come to the podium and say, hey, we need to tackle better. Is that a product of maybe the long seasons all coming together, that it's maybe the wear and tear? Is it a team that knows it's going to be measured by what it does in the postseason, and maybe these last few regular season games are harder for you guys to get up for? What would you point to on maybe why the defense slipped a little bit coming down the stretch?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're good teams we're playing, but we can do better in those areas. The guys know that. I mean, they're the first ones to know if they've missed a tackle or not. So the thing you do is you go back to your fundamentals and you just tune it up for the playoffs and make sure that you're right here. So when this game starts, so you go through highs and lows during the season, and we started off both sides of the ball and special team. We were just kind of cruising along there, not doing as well as where we thought we could be, and then we picked it up. And you end up. I've mentioned this after the game. It's a tough thing when you've kind of clinched the AFC West, and then you got to finish it off with two games. It's a weird dynamic, to say the least, because you busted your tail to get that first step taken care of, and that's the AFC West. So, so now you got to get back and kind of retool some things, both sides of the ball and special teams, and clean some things up, and we'll work on that this week.
You mentioned weird dynamic, right? Sunday Night Football was a weird dynamic where a tie would put two teams in. You've talked about watching the games. We also hear you talking about, phone calls between you and other coaches, you and Coach Madden when he was alive. And I'm just curious, amongst your fraternity of guys you're talking about, we know the fans were all saying, my God, are they going to come out and just take a knee and, knee it all the way to the finish line and they both go in? Like, what was the conversation amongst coaches as to the weirdness of how this thing was going to play out with the final game?
Yeah, I figured they wouldn't take a knee. That'd be hard on the quads, man, to take that many knees. So I think I felt like the guys were going to play and then just go about their business that way. And then it comes down to the last 2 minutes, and you're going, my goodness, here we sit. It was interesting. Listen, I think it's a great tribute to the National Football League for making the last week as exciting as it was. I mean, this week 18 for 17 games there was unbelievable. I'd probably say maybe the most exciting that we've had since I've been in.
Last two, we'll go Robert and Todd. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Coach. So you talked a little earlier about TJ Watt becoming healthy. How else is this Steelers team different from when you first them earlier in the regular season? Is it just that they're healthier, or is it something else?
Well, I think they're playing well together. I think they're doing a nice job with that. Ben's playing well, and the runner's running well. Offensive line's doing a nice job. And defensively, listen, Pittsburgh's always good. So on that defensive side, and they fly around. They've got some all-star players on that side of the ball that do really well. I slighted their wide receiver. Their wide receivers are very good too. So on the offensive side, so they're a good football team. They're well coached, and the organization with the Rooney family is it's strong. It's been strong for so many years.
We'll go last to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Coach, a couple real quick things. First, I couldn't quite tell because I was watching on TV. Did Willie Gay get hurt on that Bolton touchdown? I didn't see him go back in the game. Is he all right?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah.
And then secondly, like Seren mentioned the game last night, you guys were at the mercy of finding out who your opponent was by waiting. What was your prep like last night? Did you guys get to work on Pittsburgh and then start going, wait a second, it could be the Raiders? What was it like as a staff trying to get ready for this one?
Yeah,
I know you like to use every minute,
Yeah, we focused on Pittsburgh, and that's kind of the direction we headed yesterday, and then we watched the game, and we were down the last 2 minutes going, you know what, we might be playing the Raiders. So, but we did most of our focus on Pittsburgh. I mean, the chances of being a tie we felt were slim to none, but we got down there and it was something, was quite a game.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thanks.
All right.